Hi guys, so today I am at BMW Toyota Motor HQ and well, we are reviewing another new Toyota model. So in recent years, right, testing a Toyota car has become a bit more interesting because the new generation TNGA platforms have given rise to a range of Toyota cars with fantastically good handling, right? Especially, you know, with the rear double wishbone suspension giving those cars fabulous handling characteristics around the bend. But today's new model, the Corolla Cross, runs a torsion beam. Can I?
Saved about 500 bucks.
It save about 1,000 plus.
To work out cheaper for me.
4,000.
215, even more.
It's worth for 200 plus.
400 bucks of savings. Okay, so now I'm driving on, well, some back roads beyond Kota Kemuning. It's a good mix. It's a nice long stretch, but not a perfectly surfaced road. So this is an opportunity for us to experience the Corolla Cross's suspension on undulating roads, and and these feel exactly like the kind of roads that this car is tuned for. So see, the thing is this, now this car has a torsion beam rear suspension, whereas the regular Corolla Altis sedan has a rear double wishbones. So to be blunt about it, the handling of the Corolla Cross is definitely not as sharp compared to, or assuring compared to the Corolla sedan. You see, the thing is that with the Corolla sedan's double wishbone suspension, right, when you take a fast sweeping bend, there is that assuring sensation of the rear sitting, you know, on its wheels, you know, and giving you that confidence to push on. Whereas here in the Corolla Cross with the torsion beam, you don't get that feeling, right? You don't get that assuring sensation of a planted rear. But is it a deal breaker in the context of this car? Perhaps not. And the way this car is tuned, I think Toyota is very honest in emphasizing the comfort bias of the suspension setup. So you see, like in a Genting run, for example, if I were to use a Genting, you know, that kind of run, right, I'll take the Corolla sedan any time of the day, even though the powertrain is the same. But it is simply because of the advantage of the suspension. But here, in this kind of, you know, undulating surfaces, you know, suddenly got speed bump here, pothole there, then the Corolla Cross is better acquitted to these conditions. Okay, so now I'm accelerating. Now you can hear, all right, there's that typical rubber band effect from the CVT, and I'm taking this winding bend. So the body control is still decent, but just not quite as assured as the sedan. The absorption over that bump was fabulous, alright. And this is a setup that is still competent enough for the day-to-day use of most people. So is there a difference if you compare this with the double wishbone equipped rear Corolla sedan? Of course there is, but is it to the point that it is incompetent? It's not. It's still alright. Alright, so I'm cruising along the SKVE, well, at highway speeds, and it's okay, engine is taking just under 2000 rpm on gentle throttle, so it went up to 3000 a bit when the slope when it was on an upslope, but generally on flat ground it was holding at about 2001 2002 rpm, so it's a very good cruising long distance cruising setup. And noise levels, there's a bit of noise coming from the A pillars, very minor, and powertrain noise is low. Got a bit of road noise, but that's something that I suspect that a good set of tires would probably help alleviate a bit. But yeah, overall competent on the highways. Okay, so overall, right, the driving experience of the Corolla Cross is best described as it's competent, it's inoffensive, it gets the job done in the way you expect it to be. So what I can say is ride comfort is decent, it goes over bumps well. Handling not quite as good as the Corolla sedan, but that is to be expected, it's not a deal breaker. Engine performance, once again, not sparkling, but good enough to not feel underpowered. Typical way, Japanese way of tuning the throttle response is that in city driving, when you step on it, the initial travel generates a lot of startup acceleration, so you feel the car is very perky on the get up and go. Now on highways, as I'm doing right now, right, the CVT is geared well enough to offer, you know, good cruising speed with relatively low RPMs. Of course, when you want to accelerate hard, you have to deal with the inevitable, you know, CVT rubber banding effect of, you know, the CVT holding on to a high ratio whilst pulling the speed of the car up. So yeah, overall it's all right. And but I think of greater importance to you guys would really be the more practical aspects of the car. And I'm going to be reaching my lunch destination soon, so I'm going to get down, do a walk around and show you guys more around this car. Alright guys, so here you have it. This is the Corolla Cross, and you know, the thing is that Toyota could have quite easily called this a new given this a new name, alright, but they choose to keep the Corolla name there. You know, in fact, even though visually it bears very minimal resemblance to the Corolla sedan, but they kept the Corolla name there. So this is the Corolla Cross. It's as if as Corolla is now a sub-brand on its own to denote Toyota's products occupying the C segment. So this is to establish the fact that the Corolla name there is there to establish that this is an on-par product with the Corolla Altis sedan. Okay, and the platform of this is also based on the Corolla, the TNGA platform. Same 1.8 liter engine paired to a 7-speed CVT, but with one crucial difference. You see, unlike the Corolla, which had double wishbone rear suspension, the Corolla Cross here makes do with a torsion beam. As I record this, prices have not been revealed, but we can speculate that this would be, we are looking at a price range of about maybe 120 to 130,000 ringgit. Maybe the low spec variant will be around 115, 118, but that's purely speculation. So there are two variants on sale. The one that you see here, this is the 1.8G, and it's the lower of two available specs. There will be a higher grade 1.8V model. All right, that's not available. That's not available today. So all we have to show you here is the 1.8G, and you can tell it apart. Well, firstly, it has halogen lamps, halogen projector lamps. All right, 17-inch alloy wheels. The 1.8V has 18s. Okay, and yeah, so you do get LED tail lamps, but the 1.8V has a design feature here that Toyota calls the light curtain. All right, but you can look, one look at this car, right? You look at the plain nature of its design. It is readily apparent that this is the lower of two available specs. All right, yeah, but that's the spec level. The design wise of this car, it follows what we typically expect these days of modern crossovers. Okay, and I have to say that these two design lines here, okay, they form the design landmark of this car. It is the feature of this car that immediately draws your eyes, and particularly when you view it from the rear three quarters, you can see how that it bulges the rear wheel arch out. Okay, so proportions wise, it follows the common crossover SUV template. Okay, nothing groundbreaking per se, but it's the tastes of consumers today. So we look at the front end. All right, we have the large trapezoidal grille, and what they call this front is the dual trapezoidal design, where the grille is one trapezoid and the lower assembly here is a second trapezoid, and alongside it you have these narrow slit headlamps for a more aggressive looking design. And even though these are halogens, you can observe that there are also design details built into it that, you know, in which they try to escalate the perceived value of the lights. The SUV styling cues are all present and true. The lower parts of the car are all cladded in unpainted plastic, but curiously enough, the claddings around the wheel arch do not encompass the entire wheel arch. It breaks. All right, it breaks a couple of inches just before the end of the wheel arch. Right, same goes over there, and you can see here at the side this little trim piece. Okay, it diffuses the bulk of the visual bulk of the D pillar, and it adds the Corolla Cross name here and here as well printed on the tail lights. Yep. So also you can see that the way they print the branding of this car, the Cross name is given greater prominence than the Corolla name, even more so than what it was with the Altis, whereby, you know, when Toyota first launched the Corolla Altis, the Altis name was given greater prominence than the Corolla name, but here the Cross name seems to be given even greater prominence. All right, so now coming back here, right, so you see this, when I mentioned these two design lines as the visual trademark of this car, Toyota is very, very, very proud of it, because you can see here, all right, they reproduce that design here, all right, for you to admire. So my camera is kind of struggling to focus on that. Okay, but it's printed there on the windscreen and somewhere also here. So now the tailgate has a powered opening and a hands-free release, and check this out. So you see the design cue is printed here as well, and even here, see, look at this part of it, the Corolla Cross silhouette is printed there. This is the boot. Okay, it's loaded with things, but it's a 440 liter boot, and as you can see, it takes a fair amount of things here. Okay, there's a hook here for you to hang a maximum of 2 kilograms here as well. So it's built, this hook is built into the plastic molding, and this is the retractable tonneau cover. Okay, very good quality material here. All right, so you can close this. All right, so let's check out the inside of the car. Okay. Now, first thing, if you compare this with Corolla's other crossover in this price bracket, HR, you notice that it's a lot less claustrophobic here, okay, because the CHR has that rising window line here. The Corolla Cross here does not. So you have a clear, rear passengers have a clear view outside. So you have individually adjustable headrests here at the back, and the seat here has fantastic recline. I'm told that there's angle recline adjustment. All right, so you adjust it from this latch here that also folds down the seat. Okay, and this feels like a fantastically comfortable place to lounge in for a long distance drive. As you can see, I've got plenty of available leg room down here. Now the seat cushion is good length, so it actually reaches the back of my thigh, but it doesn't angle up enough to give me the thigh support that I'd like without really putting my legs all the way down here. But overall, it's not bad a place to be in. Okay, we've got an armrest here with two simply molded cup holders. All right, and show you the split folding function here. Okay, now this is something that definitely could be improved upon. There is a significantly large step up, okay, when you fold the seat down. So well, I can't explain why, but that means that in terms of carrying long items, there is that discontinuity in the boot floor to be mindful about. Okay, so got the middle passengers has its 3-point seat belt that is anchored to the top on the seat back. So the thing is, when you fold this down, the seat belt itself does not interfere with the folding. Isofix mounts are inside here, okay, easily located. Yeah, and got rear aircon vents with 2 USB ports underneath. So overall, decent rear accommodations. Of course, seat pockets only on the passenger side, nothing on the driver's side. Okay, so we shall step into the front. All right, and this dash should be familiar if you're coming from a Corolla. Yes, I know what you guys are going to say about this, so I think no further comment needed lah. So let's bring your attention instead to here. Well, it's been a while since we had it's a full analog cluster, proper analog dials, just with a multi-function screen here at the side, which you browse from this keypad here. You navigate through this keypad here, cycling through the various functions. Now remember that we are in the 1.8G spec, so you still have blind spot warning, you have parking sensors, you have rear cross traffic alert. All right, so, and also you've got you've got blind spot warning, cruise control. This is the fuel economy gauge, digital speedometer. All right, and here I would say that yes, there are comments that this is not the most attractive looking well, head unit, but I would say this feels quite OEM actually, compared to the one that they use in the Corolla Altis. Got media, video. The touch function is good. All right, the response is good. Apps. And check this out, guys. So this is the 360-degree camera. All right, and here's a cool feature. Check this out. So right now I'm in an enclosed environment. All right, and you see, when I flick the signals, it this camera automatically shows the side view of the car. Similarly, all right, when I flick the right signal, it shows the right side view of the car. And of course, if I engage reverse, it shows me what's behind. And on top of this, there's this 360-degree view here at the top. Okay, and overall, I would say that the stitching of the image is great. It's great stitching, even though the resolution isn't that fantastic. So you can rotate between the views, available views. And yeah, so that's the 360-degree camera solution, and this I remind you is available here, right here in the base G spec. So climate control is all condensed into this section. I would have wished for bigger buttons here. Okay, this to be, you know, slightly bigger buttons, easier to reach, easier to read. And here now, this is the storage area, but what they've done is there's a wireless charging tray here. Okay, that, so under here, okay, underneath here, let me just on the light. So you see under here is this clip for you to hold your phone. So the thing is, it's nice to have a wireless charging system, but this application, the way they put it here, firstly, looks a bit aftermarket, and second thing, it robs the center console of significant center console storage. Because if you were to look further back, all right, all you have are just these two cup holders, and that's it. So the utilization of space along the center console certainly could be improved. Here there's this armrest here as well with a 12-volt socket inside, but this armrest is slidable. All right, so you can slide forward and back. Inside here, glove box. Now the overall dash layout is quite obviously shared with the Corolla sedan, but with some minor details, all right, that separate the two cars from each other. But you know, looking at the instrument cluster, and check this out guys, a foot operated parking brake. Okay, I can't help but feel that this car is built to a slightly lower price point than the Corolla Altis. Now the other thing is this, with the Corolla Altis, it's an electronic parking brake. Now I have nothing against foot operated parking brake, all right, even though it's been a while since I tested a car with one. But in this instance, the foot operated parking brake, once I activated it, it's completely invisible. All right, so I mean, I show you from the perspective of my eye. You can't see it unless you dip your eyes down to look for it. So all right, but there is a satisfying feeling, I would have to say, in using a mechanically operated parking brake, whether it is, you know, foot operated or hand brake along the center console. There is that satisfaction in a mechanical parking brake that an electronic one with the switch don't deliver the same satisfaction when you deploy. All right, and lastly, I would say the overall build quality of this cabin is decent. All right, this surface area is soft touch plastic. This is not okay, but that's entirely in keeping with segment norms. The overall quality, I would say, is, you know, a fair comment to say would be it's solid, right? Solidly built, all right. No creaks, no rattles, but of course nothing too fancy either. Okay, so it's just a very competently built cabin, and I would say that it sums up car itself as a product. So the Corolla Cross, all right, I'm sure this car will be a decent seller. All right, it's a good product. It does not have any there's nothing offensive about this car. This is a car built, I would say, to the tastes of current consumers. You know, crossover, decently sized, good overall build quality, the reliability of the Toyota name. All right, but at the same time, it also does not sparkle in the way a lot of recent Toyotas have. You know, it doesn't have that same driving, the dynamic sharpness that you get with the Corolla Altis, with the Camry, with the CHR. This is a slightly different. This is something Toyota going back to their basics in building a car that, you know, that prioritizes comfort, that serves people without fuss.
Really too much for me. What'll I do? What'll I do? What an unusual view.